Hello everyone, my name is Kirsten. So I haven't done any of these sort of tag videos in quite a long time actually. So I randomly came across the vegetarian tag. So for those of you who do not know, I recently became a vegetarian sometime last May. I thought I would dedicate the time to do this vegetarian tag. I also did my journey to vegetarianism, so the link to the video will be in the description box right down below, or if you want, you can go ahead and check out this video yourself in one of the cards that will pop up here any moment. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and dive right on into these questions. Question number 1. How old were you when you started feeling unsettled with eating animals? By the time I turned 24 years old, I started feeling a little bit unsettled with eating animals. Mostly because the taste wasn't quite too appealing to me anymore. The older I got, the more less appealing meat tasted for me for quite some time. So before my 25th birthday hit, that's when I suddenly made the decision to become a vegetarian. Question number 2. What are some books and websites you turned to? To be honest with you guys, there isn't that many books that I particularly read. I have watched a few documentaries in particular, but then in terms of like the website wise, I went ahead and I turned to PETA and Mercy for Animals. Those were the two websites that I turned to in Pacific. I never had a chance to read any Pacific books. However, there were a few that I've heard of that I thought were really good to learn about. Oh, by the way, I don't know the name of the authors, I just know the name of the books to be in Pacific, but the books I would recommend that I've heard were really good were The China Study, The Raw Cure, How Not to Die, and I think that's pretty much it from there. And sometimes I think even certain cultures or certain types of religions cover vegetarianism even. So those are the things that I recommend if you're interested in looking that up. Question number 3. How did your family and friends reacted when you said you were vegetarian? To be honest with you, I haven't talked to my friends in quite a long time. But I would assume that they would be a little bit more accepting about it. In terms of my family, a majority of my family was pretty much accepting about it. However, my aunt was kind of put off about it for quite some time. I'm not sure why. At first, she started arguing with me, making claims about like how it isn't healthy and that kind of thing. She acted like I was doing crystal meth behind her back or something. Like, seriously? Out of all the things you could have argued with me about, you decided to argue with me about becoming vegetarian? What? Sometimes certain people's mindsets just don't make any sense whatsoever. I just don't understand how people can be so offended so easily when it has nothing to do with affecting their life. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But eventually she grew to learn and accept about it, so that's pretty good. Not too many complaints there. Question number 4. What other animal products do you not eat that others might not think of? To be honest with you guys, I think it kind of varies with certain types of vegetarians. Some vegetarians are completely vegan. Some vegetarians will eat eggs and then avoid dairy. Some vegetarians will eat dairy but not eat eggs. It kind of all varies kind of depending on your taste preference, I guess. But for me generally, I know that even before I became a vegetarian, I know for me personally, I don't like the taste of milk. There's just something about the taste in Pacific that kind of grosses me out and feels like something's always caught in my throat. So that's one thing I don't feel comfortable consuming very often. And then I know that I don't eat eggs for breakfast anymore. That's another thing. In my opinion, those are the ones that I really don't like, or animal byproducts that I really don't like. I'm just not too wild or crazy about either one of those, to be honest. Question number 5. Do you use animal product-free, test-free hygiene and makeup products? To be honest with you, yes, I do stay away from companies and products that test on animals, even companies that have animal ingredients in them. I just think it's really pathetic that people in society today still test their products on animals. There's other ways to test products without causing necessary harm to animals. I mean, when people think of animal testing, people will automatically think about something as simple as like a rat, but it's much more than just rats and mice, people. Some companies test their products on cats and dogs. Some companies test their products on rabbits and even monkeys. It's very unfortunate that these things really do happen, and a lot of people are just not necessarily aware of that type of situation. So I advise you to just really do your research, know what you're purchasing and what you're supporting. Yes, for me personally, I always purchase makeup and hygiene products that do not test on animals. Question number 6. What are your favorite recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? For breakfast, I always go for fruit in the morning. I always think it's really important, and especially with breakfast being the most important meal of the day, I always dedicate the time to eat plenty of fruit in the morning because fruit is a really good source of carbs, and with carbs, you definitely need to fuel in that type of energy, especially if it's berries in particular. For lunch, it kind of depends. For lunch, I'll either eat more fruit or I'll just focus on eating leftover dinners in Pacific, like with pastas and that kind of thing. For dinner, I usually like to eat plenty of pastas. Sometimes I'll eat soup. Or sometimes I'll eat like soy products, in particular tofu, and especially like any sort of meatless products that are made from either tempeh or tofu. That would be my most favorite things to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Question number 7. What is your favorite sources of protein? So my favorite sources of protein would have to be tofu, definitely. I like beans. I like leafy greens. In particular, I like eating spinach and kale, and I just like vegetables generally, and especially potatoes. Those are my favorite sources of protein in Pacific. Question number 8. Would you ever consider becoming a vegan? I have given some pretty good thoughts about becoming vegan, definitely. As a matter of fact, before I became vegetarian, I tried transitioning into the vegan lifestyle, and for some weird reason, it failed tremendously. And my dad at that time considered me to go vegetarian before I could transition into the vegan lifestyle. So that's what I did, and I'm really enjoying the vegetarian lifestyle. And I have given some pretty good thoughts about becoming vegan one day. As a matter of fact, I have been focusing a little bit on more vegan-related products rather than products that are made from eggs and dairy and that kind of thing. And there's still a lot of things I need to work on, but one of these days I'll eventually get there. Question number 9. How do you handle the questions or harsh opinions people have when you tell them you are a vegetarian? So to begin with the questions, I understand that, you're very curious about something that you have lack of knowledge about. So I do my best to try to answer them honestly as I possibly can, and especially with some of the research that I spend my whole time into. In terms of like the harsh opinions, I think it kind of depends on the situation generally. I usually ignore the harsh opinions of ignorant people, and if not, then I'll either be nasty back or I will try to convince somebody that they're wrong in some way. So for one thing, I cannot stand people's ignorance. I'm a very stubborn person to begin with anyway, so I don't necessarily listen to what ignorant people have to say to begin with. That is just one of the few things that I will do if I deal with questions or harsh opinions. Question number 10. How do you handle holiday meals? Do you have a certain staple foods? I think it really depends, but I don't necessarily have a staple, but usually tofurkey or field roast is one of those two products that I'll normally go for. Question number 11. Why have you chosen to stay vegetarian? The reason I chose to stay vegetarian is because I do love eating plants more often than I do with eating meat. I, for one, cannot stand eating meat anymore. The taste is less appealing to me than it was when I was younger. Another reason being is when I was younger, I was having such a hard time trying to lose weight. Now that I'm on the vegetarian lifestyle, I have lost a tremendous amount of weight. So one of these days, if I end up losing the specific weight that I desire, I might even make a future video on my weight loss progress. And I just wanted to enjoy the vegetarian lifestyle a little bit more better before I could transition into the vegan lifestyle in particular. That is the main reason I've chosen to become vegetarian. Final question at number 12. What are your thoughts on leather products? I'm really ashamed to admit this, but I used to be one of those people that really loved leather. Like, I loved the feel of it, and I especially loved the smell of it. But then I randomly watched a PETA video, and believe it or not, guys, some of the leather products are not just made from cows. Some leather products are sometimes made from dogs too, especially if they're produced in foreign countries. Since I saw that video, I never have the desire to purchase any more leather products anymore, and I haven't been for a long time. So I would say that's a pretty good accomplishment. I'm just happy that I'm staying away from leather products, and I just don't have any desire to consume them anymore. So that was pretty much all of the questions for this whole vegetarian tag in Pacific. I hope you guys really did enjoy this video, or somewhat felt informed about the vegetarian lifestyle. So if you did, be sure to sucker punch that like button down below. So comment down below if you would really love to do this tag, and I'll be sure to comment back or something. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this whole vegetarian tag. So I'll link your video and I will be sure to check it out, I promise. And of course, if you're new here and if you haven't already, please do dedicate the time and effort to subscribe to my lovely channel, join my little army of darkness, and if you hit that notification button, you will be updated with brand new videos every single Friday, Saturday, and Sundays now. If you guys are interested in following me outside of YouTube, all of my social medias will be listed in the description box right down below if you are indeed interested in checking them out yourself. So thank you guys so much for watching and sticking to the end of this video. You guys are seriously so awesome for doing that. With that all being said, have a completely chill week and awesome day or night, and I will talk to you all soon in the next video. So until then, stay completely dark and so fucking brutal and awesome, my friends. Take care. Bye for now.